bit of a delay. We're going to take a second and see how this goes. Wow, let's see. So, broadcasting from the hardware store. Just a little recap to let everybody know how awesome this weekend went over with Conflict Kitchen. We ended up having some awesome chefs. I'm Latoya Williams, your executive consultant at Iernwill Educational Consulting. I'm also, for the first time, doing this live stream while I try to handle all my social media sites. So I'll probably be over here for Instagram, right here for Facebook, over here for Twitter. I'll be all over the place. But we had an absolutely awesome time this weekend, and I even have like battle scars. You know what I mean? Like this is serious stuff. This will forever be a memory. I guess I had to have memories from other reasons, and this had nothing to do with cooking or food. This was just me being clumsy. But nonetheless, a reminder of how awesome the weekend was, how hard everyone works. And it will definitely leave tons of quality memories, and I'm really excited about that. That's for sure. So let's see. First things first. Let me highlight and try to shout out all of the IERN chefs for the weekend. So we had helping in the planning Mr. Yulee Church of Church Cheesecakes. We had Miss Tori Day of De La Soul Catering. We also had Miss Cheyenne Bronzell of Fat Girls Are Cooking, LLC. We had Mr. Gerald Parker Jr. with his smoke meats from In God's Hands Catering. And we had Mr. Malik Hamilton, who is currently a food studies program master's candidate at Chatham University. I think I got all of that right. And in Guy Wharf, who traveled all the way from Trinidad to be a part of this event. And I am just absolutely excited. So let's see. Let me make sure I got everybody. We had Miss Monique Woodson of Indulge with Mo in the mix. Also, and all of the Conflict Kitchen staff was absolutely awesome. I mean, it's just really dope. So I'm gonna play around a little bit on Facebook and see who we have coming in terms of tweets. Thanks so much, Miss Cheyenne, for sending out those tweets. We had an awesome time. We had a sold out menu. Okay, this is the first. This things just went from Cuba. So stop at Conflict Kitchen for that Cuban cuisine rather. They'll be taking over the Instagram all week, but we were able to take over Conflict Kitchen for Juneteenth, and Juneteenth is celebration of liberation of blacks, that were still in enslavement in the South 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. And so we thought that it would be a perfect platform to connect. Meaning me, it was like, hey, let me hound Conflict Kitchen a little bit, and it was literally like 2 emails. I always exaggerate of how many times I actually had to send an email to try to get them to, participate and so forth. It really wasn't that it didn't take much time at all. Fortunately, Dawn Waleski has been an awesome help. She was able to come through, listen to what I thought was a meaningful kind of activity for both learning together, for educating the general population that may or may not even really know about Juneteenth and what it all means. And so it's typically a celebration in 1865. So to this Juneteenth, June 19th, 2015 was 150-year anniversary of the first Juneteenth festival, and that was kind of like when we celebrated the last, the word getting all the way to that far corner, Texas and Galveston, to let everyone know that they were liberated. The Emancipation Proclamation had been federally enforced. And so I'm getting some messages somewhere, and I'm trying to figure out who I'm getting them from. So, all good. And so we thought that given the current climate in the United States, that it would be a perfect opportunity to really have a conversation around what does it mean, or what are the implications, or what are the ramifications or whatnot behind the fact that the U.S. is such an early democracy, and that blacks have only been able to vote for maybe about 50 years. They've only been free, and the only people in the United States that were restricted the opportunity to become literate. And so only 150 years later, what does that mean in terms of opportunities? What does that mean in terms of all these other things? And I'm taking a photo op for Instagram. Do I need to pose? All right. So, live streams, folks. Okay, so posing for Instagram, yeah, so hopefully you'll see that one coming through pretty soon. And what does that really mean for education, and what it means for not only education, what it means for black people in America? What does it mean for opportunities? What does it mean for institutionalized racism, and those kind of, what word am I looking for? What are the results? What's the effects of not being able to become literate, not being able to be a part of the voting process, not being considered a whole human being? These are things that we are still dealing with. These things don't change in 50 years. They don't change in 150 years. They don't change in 400 years. Okay, so these are things that become a part of our culture, become a part of who people are. These things are things that are, trickled down through families, and become one of those things that are cyclical, familial, kind of ongoing things that happen because of, simply put, the power structure and white supremacy. And so, thinking about that, I think having the two groups in terms of Conflict Kitchen, which is a largely white-run organization and staffed, to bring folks from Pittsburgh, 412 chefs that are, these folks hands down are the top folks in the city. And I say that because we've been able to plan for only a month, 1 month. We might have had 40 days, possibly, maybe 45, to plan an awesome event that sold out on the first day. Where else could you have had the opportunity to go to Oakland and hear a middle-aged white lady from, I don't know, Wexford, I think it was, from Wexford, say, what do you mean you're out of pig feet? Standing at Conflict Kitchen's window. So, yeah, and thanks, Justin, because he told me that this morning, a little bit earlier today. I thought that was really funny, how does that even happen? And so it's cool to be able to see that both of these groups of people passionate about what they do, loving food, interested, and the Conflict Kitchen staff is we're so supportive. I'll probably end up tweeting a picture out right now about, with them. They were just really awesome and really flexible. They worked with us. We learned from each other. We laughed a lot. Like it made no sense. And I mean, one thing that I don't remember if it was Aiden or Robert or Isaac, but one of the conflict kitchen staff was like, I've been hugged more this weekend, more than I have in a really long time. And it's just indicative and just shows how much love we had for each other, for the work that we was doing. We were absolutely ecstatic to be able to be doing all of those things. And I say we. I had nothing to do. I did, however, stir the potato salad. I mean, so we got 50 pounds of potato salad. I guess I need to tweet that one out too. Like, hey, so I'll tweet out the 50-pound of potato salad picture. Okay, so this is the real deal, folks. You know, uh, 50 pounds of potato salad came through there. I mean, I think it was at least, who knows, like probably 500 pieces of fish. I don't think I'm exaggerating either. There was, I mean, the collard greens. There was like a tub of this stuff, and I'm going to try to tweet all this out while I'm on the air. So maybe I shouldn't try to keep talking while I do this, because I really can't do multiple things at once. But I did learn a lot about multitasking this weekend, and maybe this isn't the best to have on after all, because other stuff is coming through. So yeah. So we had a really awesome time. Thanks to all those folks that are out there tweeting on IG. Work Hard Pittsburgh hardware store. They do the thing, and they let me come and take over and chill on the couch, and do my podcast and just let me ramble on, and I appreciate that, because it's easier here than anywhere else. And I want to thank, who else? Oh my goodness, Dawn, and oh goodness, Billy. So D. All right, let me get, okay. So Aim to Please is the premier mobile massage for the Pittsburgh region, and he will travel to any other city for massage parties and things like that. And so Billy came out. He was made sure that the Iron Chefs and all the conflict kitchen staff was a little relaxed. It got tense back there, it was just an awesome opportunity to really be able to have him out there, doing what he does. Um, and I'm getting messages from Dawn on Facebook. So tweeting out the address to the hardware store. It's like, what hardware store? If I can figure out how to work this computer. All right. Clearly, this is not going to be. Um, this is just going to be one of those, like, hey, I'm glad you understand that this wasn't organized. So let's see here. Let me see what we got going on the Twitter feed. Looks like Instagram is probably more popping at this point. So let's see what we got over here. We got, of course, Miss Cheyenne, Fat Girls Are Cooking. We've seen so many videos and so many pictures come through for from IGH 412. So let's see if I can get all of their information for you, so you'll be able to see it. So all of our chefs, okay, they are on Instagram. It seems like Instagram is pretty popular. I think I need to get my Instagram weight up, because clearly, I'm missing out, and all my selfies are up there. I have to post some more selfies. We got tweets coming through. We got messages coming through. I'm trying to keep up with them all. I've never done this before, in case you hadn't recognized. This hasn't happened before. So let me make sure I send out this link to everyone. So I found it. So the if you're looking to connect with, let's see here, Miss Cheyenne of Fat Girls Are Cooking on Instagram. That is PHAT, fat, yes, Fat Girls with a Z. So PHATGIRLZACOOKIN. They cooking. They're not cooking. They're cooking. The Fat Girls Are Cooking on Instagram. So PHATGIRLZACOOKIN, all one word. Fat Girls Are Cooking on Instagram. Miss Cheyenne was the creator of the potato salad. Oh my goodness. So these 50 pounds of potatoes that I'm supposed to be tweeting out, that I'm taking some time to do, because I'm too busy talking, and like I told you, I can't talk and chat and tweet all at the same time, but that's okay. How about, okay, so and thinking about highlights. Now the highlights, of course, was just simply the fact that we were together and doing what people really loved. I mean, like, everybody was the most pleasant in the group. We did have, hey, no, it's a live, it's live stream. We gotta say hey. Buzzy's coming in the side door and stuff. It's all good. So it's cool. So we had a really cool mix of folks over there at the kitchen. There was no drama, but we did have a little bit of disappointment, so I might as well come out and go ahead and say this here. So we did have a little bit of issues with a post that happened to be in the city paper, and that turned into a whole conversation about was the food that we cook really called a struggle plate? Okay, so maybe I should just go ahead and have this conversation. And I think I'm going to welcome everybody that is watching, or uh, that is watching while I'm trying to type and can't do this whole multitasking thing again, to really think about or consider what you would think about when you heard struggle plate, or slave cuisine, or soul food, or any of the other words, or Caribbean, or black food. All of these words happen to come out in the city paper's shortlist, and we thank city paper for going ahead and advertising. Just a little thump in the background, because that's how real it is on live stream. So, when you think about that food, a lot of the chefs, I won't say a lot, but several of the chefs can understand that if someone reading this, not familiar with their cuisine, might mistake that their cuisine was struggling, or that the food that they were serving was the same food they served slaves, and it even, like, when you say struggle plate, it's like, what does that even mean? But just to clarify, when the word struggle plate came up in the first place, it was a joke from one of our chefs, and she mentioned how there are times when people talk about the food that black folks eat, right? There's an assumption about this food that high in fat, and not a lot of vegetables, a ton of fried food, and chitlins, the leftovers of food. And so let's talk. I can't really go into the history of food much, but let's talk a little bit about food and in the history of food. And I think it's important because food can either be a connector. Food was what we all came together over just this weekend. And no matter how you define it, I think that Iron Chef Guy Wharf said it best, is that no matter what people call it, no matter what people might even have in mind when they think about it, or when they hear those terms, or what have you, the reality is that when you ate that food, hands down. This was in the planning process. He foresaw, that he had, he prophesied all this wonderful food that we were about to have. Like, the reality is that everybody enjoyed it. Everybody was glad to be eating something that they hadn't seen come through Conflict Kitchen's window before. And that, at the end of the day, is really what matters. No matter, and not making light of the discomfort or the how misleading something like the word struggle plate might really mean, or seem. The reality is that these Iron Chefs, these 7 folks, 6 were in the kitchen that were really willing and ready to give it all they had, and that's the only thing that's really required, right? Like, thinking about all the things that my mom ever told me that I had to do. It wasn't, oh, make sure you eat all the food on your plate. Interestingly enough, that was not it. But what mom did always say was that, you have to try your best, and after that, you just do what you can. And part of me feels as if the reporter tried her best. I don't think that she necessarily understood how defining all of the dishes, which, I mean, again, this also deals with grammar, right? And so these things have been corrected, and apologies have been made about any typos and how things came across. And I thank Don for being proactive about kind of contacting the city paper about the things that didn't work out so well in terms of the representation of the meal, and things like that. uh, the reality, and it looks like I uh, may have lost the camera, but the reality is that the folks were able to come together and definitely do their best on their food. I'm going to, let's see here if I can get this going, because we lost. Looks like we lost video. Yeah, it looks like it went out. Josh told me it would, or it might. I might just have to stop and start again. Do, 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 do. Pressing the button isn't going to make a difference, is it?
No.
Okay. Camera is not available. Let's see if it is disconnected or used in another application. This is fun. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that.
Was it originally a number 3?
It was actually here. Oh, it's been here for the
Okay.
second. I don't know
I
if.
have no clue. Sorry, we stopped using this
Yeah,
pretty early.
I know. I know. It's
Is he
so
still
funny.
here?
Yeah, I don't know. He might be upstairs. Let's see
I'll
here.
be back to help if
Okay.
I'm not sure how long I'll be if it's set up speakers up the road. But
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So, right now there's no video, but there's a ton of. Seems like hopefully our audio is still working. Um, Looks like our artist might be in the. Let's see what we got going over here. Video went out. All right. Our camera is not available. Oh, and we're back. Ah, there we go. So, all right, let's see here. See, just gotta try a little harder. Just gotta, give it all you got. Try your best. So we're trying our best. And we are just trying to just address what teeny tiny but meaningful drama happened over the weekend. And so we have to ask ourselves to really understand that there are different levels of snap judgments that come with every single person walking this planet. Um, and it's only when we check ourselves and our assumptions and how we think about things and where those thoughts originated from that um, and we're really what's the word evaluating how we come to the conclusions that we make about people that we don't know that we happen to see walking down the street. We have to really start questioning those, and I think that that's the bigger picture at this point. Yes, because I want to make sure that I address what the real concerns were about that city paper, that post. It was about it appeared as if there was some negligence. It appeared as if that there was maybe an underhanded stab at what the food was, what it meant, what the value was. And because of the typos, it was like, wait a minute, did they even care about what they put out in this article? So those were some of the issues that we really we were doing, or that we were dealing with, and that cannot be taken lightly. There's no reason for any of those things to happen. But I think the real conversation, the more important conversation, is to really be thinking and addressing how we think about the issues or the snap judgments or the any of those other assumptions we make about the people that we assume we know and how that happens. And we, I think, all know that there is a heavy amount of digital media in general, that pretty much affects how people around the world see things, whether that's in a and that's pretty much how things started, right? We wanted to see how things happen, so we had newspaper, and we had, so in print we had a radio, and now we have the internet. And one thing that I think is really really important for Iernwill Educational Consulting, for the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit, is that we are really taking into consideration how and what our digital footprint is like. What is our digital footprint? What does it look like? How is it that we're going to carry on a legacy when right now World Star Media is pretty much taking over everything, and people see World Star as being, kind of the end all be all. Everybody, trying to do it for, they either doing it for the Vine or doing it for World Star, or something like that. What is your legacy going to be? And like this weekend, what was really important was that we left a mark, and we showed camaraderie, we showed companionship, we showed ability to collaborate, we showed our ability to think critically, because we did have to kind of readjust as we thought about, well, how will we define our food, what defines our food, who defines our food. And then it was like, hey, we just got to get in this kitchen and get it done. And so I really appreciate all of those folks that contributed to that in a very very real and meaningful way. um, the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit was really about it's about, to be quite honest, it's about my babies. It's about your babies. It's about it's about making sure that we're carrying on and ensuring that there is an opportunity for everyone to learn from everyone. Everybody has something to offer. All of those folks that were in the kitchen, whether it was a conflict staff or whether they were an Iron Chef, they had something to offer. and they were willing to bring it, and they were willing to bring it 1,000%, and that I appreciate. And I think, probably more than anything, and probably more than me were trying to ramble on and trying to figure out how to multitask and tweet with all these devices that clearly isn't working. So thank you, Miss Cheyenne, for liking, tweeting, and doing all that other stuff with the YouTube videos. Um, you know, uh, it's about the fact that we have to get back to the village. We have to get back to the village mentality more so than anything else. And what this culture has created are people that actually believe that they can do everything by themselves, completely alone, and what they do doesn't affect the next person. And that's the lie that we're being told. That's the lie that we're selling our children. That's the lie that the culture is selling our children. And so what you run into, let's start in the classroom, is what you have is you have a ton of students who may be under and a lot of times we have students in the classroom that have far more responsibility than they deserve, far more responsibility than they are supposed to have at their age. But also you have a group of students who believe that they're supposed to have the ability, even if they haven't been taught it before, to know something. So when a question comes up and they don't know it, it's like, oh wait, now it becomes a value, a personal value thing. And I think I'm about to lose my camera again. But it becomes a personal value kind of thing. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to really, how am I supposed to be able to do what I don't even know how to do? And it doesn't make sense for them to feel like they're supposed to know the things that they haven't been taught, or they're not supposed to feel as if they they are less than any more brilliant than they are because they don't know something. And so we have to be able and willing, because we have all this wonderful digital media opportunity and access and outlets and all these things. And that's why we do transformative arts. And that's why we, tap into different kind of media outlets and all these other things. And it's to be able to create a village where we're teaching each other. That's why incubators exist, right? And so it's really important to really get back to the village mentality. And so the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit is about getting back to the village. It's about identifying those folks who are interested enough in what they do and passionate enough about what they do to be able to share that with everyone, with the world. And this weekend you saw 6 chefs in the kitchen sharing all that they loved, all that they cooked from the very depths of who they are. Some may call that a soul, and sharing that with everyone that came to Oakland this weekend for the 19th and 20th to make sure that there was food. We had so much feedback as, oh, wait, it's not going to be here tomorrow. I'm upset. I can't believe it. I'm so glad it was here. I was expecting something different, but I'm so glad this was here. We had such tremendous feedback, and I feel like we're having some technical difficulties right now, but that's okay. That we'd never allow something like, being labeled a particular way to change what we really were about, right? I mean, I think when we talk about holistic education, the reason, kind of shifting gears a little bit, thinking about all that Iernwill and our outreach does in terms of education and making sure that we are holistically addressing the needs of the learners that we come in contact with. That means that we are making sure that we're dealing with not only the academic aspect of things, but that we're also dealing with the cultural, the spiritual, the dietary. All of these things actually matter, right? You know, food matters, but what you put in your body matters. And so, thinking about labels and how late things are labeled, and quite often you can walk into any grocery store. Um, you may or may not see natural, all natural, on the front of the packaging. Um, but regardless of what it's labeled as, right, there's an ingredients list that tells you exactly what's in it. So even if it's labeled as natural, if what you see is that it has all these words that you can't really pronounce, or if you get that shampoo, okay, because we're always about this. A lot of what Ironwill started as was addressing the lack of information that we were providing Black women surrounding their hair care and natural hair care specifically, but also in kind of product placement and all these things that were put on the shelves to and labeled as natural. But in reality, what was happening is that we had tons of petroleum-based foods on, or petroleum-based products that were in these things. And so I apologize for the technical difficulties in the camera dropping in and out. I'm trying to work on that as I go. But what is important about all of this, and the point that I'm trying to make is that no matter how things are labeled, no matter whether they called those dishes struggle plates, or whether they called it soul food, or whether they called it, what was another name up there, slave cuisine. I don't even know where that came from. You know, whatever and I want to take some responsibility for some of this. Because, I have a tendency to ramble. So if there was a chance that I, mentioned, some people might call it this, or some people might call it that, or some people might call it this. And if I would ramble to the point that she just thought for some reason it was appropriate to call anybody's food a slave cuisine, we don't even know. Okay, sorry. I'm clearly a little bit off topic and rambling. But the point is that we made sure those chefs, those iron chefs, made sure that no matter how they've been labeled in the past, whether they've been labeled as slackers, whiners, who knows, cutthroat, or lazy. I don't know what other names you can come up with for people, right? Like, no matter what they've been labeled, no matter what the food was labeled in the city paper, no matter what people might have even thought of about either of them or their food, the reality is this weekend for the Juneteenth kickoff at Conflict Kitchen, those chefs, those iron chefs, showed that they gave it their best and that their food is absolutely awesome. And I'm really appreciative for each of them, And we have a lot of things coming up. So you'll be seeing all of those chefs again. You'll be seeing Monique Woodson from Indulge with Mo. You'll be seeing Cheyenne Bronzel from Fat Girls Are Cooking. You'll be seeing Mr. Gerald Parker Jr. from In God's Hands Catering. You'll see Tori Day from De La Soul Catering. You'll see, who am I missing? You'll be seeing Mr. Malik Hamilton, because he's dealing with the whole, oh my goodness, I feel like I have to look this up. But he's dealing with the Freedmen's Bureau, the archives. Like, how freaking cool is that? Like, we have chefs that not only throw down in the kitchen, but now we have chefs who are on the board for making sure that, this huge push for genealogical understanding and background and family and all these things that unfortunately, because Africans were stolen and brought to America for labor to build America as we know it is today, we don't always have an understanding of what our lineage is. So much of that was cut off intentionally because of the fact that we, as you know, that black people are such powerful beings, such spiritual beings, such, you know, such admired beings. We were, you know, and I, you know, the point is there are so many things that we don't know about ourselves that the work of Iron Chef Malik Hamilton is going to be extremely valuable. Um, uh, Iron Chef Ngai, oh my goodness, you know, like you're gonna hear more. You know, he's from Pittsburgh, Trinidadian background, you know, ethnicity. Is that what it's called? Is that culture, ethnicity? See, all these things, I don't even know how to label it. You know, because we often get just called as black people from America with, you know, knowing only our lineage up into, you know, our folks, our families that were that were sharecroppers or potentially slaves. You know, my granddad was a sharecropper. You know, I'm a farmer's daughter, true and through. You know, and I know that there is a lot that I have to learn. But the point is, you'll be seeing all those Iron Chefs coming up soon. So I'm going to transition into the next phase of upcoming projects. Okay, so I've rambled on enough about this. I appreciate everybody that came out to support. With all the glitches that are happening right now, you know, thank you for watching. And stay tuned for all of our upcoming projects. So, number one, the number one upcoming project. I will be working closely. Oh, wait. I just remembered. I have to give a huge shout out. Okay, let me make sure I tweet this one. To Taylor Durham. I could not, absolutely could not have done nearly as much of the marketing that I've done. You know, I could not have done all my graphics were done by Taylor Durham. I'll make sure that I share some, you know, his information with you. I highly recommend it. He was completely, you know, it was just like as many, as difficult as it is, or maybe, to work with me from time to time. He always stayed professional, always stayed, you know, real cool about things. And, you know, I recommend you to holler at Taylor as soon as possible. Taylor, sorry. And make sure that you let them know Iernwill sent you, Latoya sent you, to make sure that any of your graphic digital needs. And so, thinking about how Taylor has helped over the last month in planning this. Also want to give a huge shout out to Maya Bridget and the ladies of Superfly. The Superfly meetup group was able to come out to Arnold's Tea on the north side, 502 East Ohio Street, and had a wonderful, beautiful high tea. I'm gonna make sure I post my shout out real quick to them. Sorry, I really don't have this whole multitasking thing down packed. I guess, and how does this even happen in real radio stations? Like, how do we have people tweeting? They have to have somebody tweeting from their account. Like, don't you think? Because there's no way I can tweet, talk, do this at the same time. I need a commercial break. Maybe I should go to commercial. So, speaking of commercials, I want to make sure that I am, again, thanking all of those people and those folks who contributed. Shout out to the Transformational Leadership Conference, Iernwill Educational Consultant and Resource Advisory Services. You know, we're here to make sure that all of your educational needs and enrichment opportunities are created along with the folks within the community, and that's what it's really all about. It is about making sure that we're making these opportunities, because those folks closest to the issues, closest to the those folks closest to the problem, you know, are closest, you know, to the solution also. You know, we too often we think that the help we need within our communities has to come from outside of our community. We have to, look to government or some foundations funds or whatever, in reality what we showed this weekend is that we just need each other. And we really, all the support financially, monetary support, all those things are welcomed and appreciated. But there's so much we can do together if we really just decide and make up in our mind that we're going to do the work. And it's not going to necessarily be easy, but we are going to do the work. And it's totally necessary to do the work. So just make sure that that's happening. If you're committed to it, if you say that you want to have more opportunities for yourself, for others, for those around you, you want to be a change leader, you want to make sure that these things are available to you and to those around you, then stick with Iernwill. So coming up this week, we'll be writing letters to change leaders, because I'm going to wrap this up in the next 15 minutes. We'll be writing letters to change leaders. Those change leaders are the same ones that motivated me to be doing the work that I'm doing. And those change leaders to me are my two daughters. And those two have been pivotal in forcing me to have the motivation to just do what's necessary. And whatever that is for you, whatever it is that pushes you to do the things that you know you're supposed to do, the things that you know you're really good at, the things you know you're passionate about, find that thing that motivates you to do that, if you need that, and do it. Because in that you'll find your purpose. My daughters have helped me find my purpose, and I use resources that will help people do what they are passionate about. My passion is helping you see your passion. It's helping create community, and that's why that village is necessary. That's why you are necessary. You are the key to quality education. There's no doubt in my mind that we can do this without each other. And we learned this weekend, it was a learning process, that those iron chefs that were in the kitchen were there and learning from the staff at Conflict Kitchen. The staff at Conflict Kitchen was learning from the iron chefs. There was a clear exchange that was completely valuable, that is just a small microcosm of what can happen across the board. And that's really what it's all about. And we thank the ladies of Superfly for coming out and having high tea at Arnold's Tea. That's 502 East Ohio Street. And celebrating what it's like to have that sisterhood bond, to be able to come together and relax and have tea. Like, let's do it nice. And they were so beautiful. Thank you so much, Tamaya, for making sure that, everything kind of, there were so many things that have happened as a part of the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit events that have so much to do with everybody else and not me, because that's what this is all about, learning from each other, being able to other, whether that's your time, your money, your energy, your sin sharpens another. And that's what the summit is all about. And I want to be able to bring all of those folks together to be able to become my village, my village here, my village, internationally. And so because there's a lot of those things that I definitely want to do, I want to be able to bring folks together. I want to be able to expand those brands, Fat Girls Are Cooking, In God's Hands, Indulge with Mold, De La Soul, catering. I mean, these things, these companies, these businesses, these catering companies, these chefs, those people, their families, all of them matter, but they are all doing things that they're absolutely proud about. I just had Oh, I had some cheesecake from a church cheesecakes. Fabulous. It was so good. I had to, like, it was in one of those little containers that had the ridges in it, and because like the chocolate and the caramel and the whipped cream and the cheesecake had like gotten into the crevices, I had to use my French fries to get it out. My daughters and I love ice cream and French fries, or sundae and French fries with like the chocolate on our and the sweet and salty. Yes, y'all know. All right, so these are the again, like, these are some of the things that I want to say thank you for all of you that made this past weekend the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit kickoff at Conflict Kitchen on the Juneteenth, the 19th, June 19th, 150 years after after being liberated, after slavery became illegal, right? These are folks that came together to celebrate that with me, and I appreciate it. They have become my village. Those folks that were at the community conversation, those people now are a part of my village, and you know, uh, all of these things I'm hoping to continue, because it's necessary. It's necessary to make sure that, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to see. I'm trying to post. But yeah, so it's important to be able to see those faces. You to continue these kind of conversations. Folks know about what Iernwill does, about the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit. I'll be inviting you to tea on me. So a lot of the way I've collaborated with these chefs was by inviting them to tea back in May. So from May 1st to May 15th, I welcome several folks in business owners, folks from the community, community stakeholders in general, to come have tea so we can talk about what they're doing, what work they're doing, because too often we don't expose and share the work of other people often enough. And so we wanted to make sure that that was available to people, and we will be doing that through Tea on Me, which was recently funded through the Sprout Fund, and so we're really thankful that Sprout and the Buell Foundation was willing to see the project of using tea as a vehicle for conversation, to share each other's brand as being valuable. And so I was recently awarded the Neighbor to Neighbor grant to be able to have tea and invite each of you to come out to share your brand and to talk about the projects that you're working on. And so again, I welcome each of you to come out and do that. How come none of my hashtags are popping up on this thing? And here we go. Sorry, live TV, just trying to do all this stuff at the same time, trying to be serious at the same time. It's really not working. So what we have coming up is we'll be working I'll be working with the awesome, creative, visionary, culturally relevant, just very much just awesome, all around awesome artist, Dion Jacob. And Dion Jacob and I, and along with Taylor, right, who just liked the post. Thank you. I'm glad Taylor got to, see his shout out, even if he isn't watching this video right now. Working together to be able to really, teach learners how engineering and arts can be connected. That's the big deal. I don't know that I want to give the big reveal about what we're having coming up. I'll make sure I get Dion in the studio and having a conversation for Freedom Radio. But we'll be working together to show just how engineering, culture, history, arts all of those things are very much connected. And, we're going to make sure that, all learn a little bit about engineering and flight, just to give you a little flight, and a lot about art. And so that's one of the upcoming projects. And so with Mr. Dion Jacob. And so we'll be doing art and engineering, and that information will be coming to you soon. Let's see what else. So Tea on Me is coming up. The art and engineering project with Mr. Dion Jacob, and I'll have a whole series on that. We're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. We've been here quite a while, and I appreciate you all for watching, tweeting, liking, and so forth. We also, oh my goodness, what else are we doing? So I had the fortune of teaching. Oh my goodness, there was maybe 10 to 15 teachers that work with a local nonprofit, and was amongst other trainers that were really sharing white supremacy and power, and how that what those effects and that looks like in the classroom, and what that looks like on it, when you see it, and how to address it, and using interactive programming to be able to really address the needs that young ladies have that they'll be working with. And so we're fortunate for S Group. Okay, you gotta give a shout out to S Group for all the work that they do, for again believing in me. This is a learning process. I'm all about learning, and for their for looking at my work as quality work. And so I really appreciate the fact that they recognize, that that there is a value in the work that I do, and I want you to recognize that there is value in the work that you do. Never sell yourself short. Make sure that we're always working together, and that you are always identifying someone that is there to support you. And if for some reason, as you go through your mental Rolodex, you don't really know who you can really lean on, or rely on, or call on, or who can get you the resources, or who can help you with that resume, or who can help you get that, to compile your skills, or can help you identify ways to further your learning. If you don't know those things, then make sure that you always remember Iernwill Educational Consulting, because that's what we are definitely here to do. We identify different communities, post-industrial, rural communities that can use the help, but we also know that help has to come from within the community. And that's why those 7 chefs that participated in taking over Conflict Kitchen, those 6 chefs that were in the kitchen, everyone that was in there that was willing to just say, hey, I'm going to take a risk. I don't know, none of these, by the way, none of these chefs had met me prior to May. Okay. So these are people that I've known for 2 months, right? That helped me plan for 1 month, maybe 45 days, who said, I believe in myself enough, and I believe in what you're doing enough to come together and throw out there an awesome menu, okay, created with the chefs, to prepare an awesome menu that sold out on the first day. And to say, hey, you know what, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this as a family. We're going to keep it cool. I mean, I don't know a better group of people I could have worked with. I also don't know a better, wonderful, more beautiful group of ladies that could have supported Arnold's Tea on the north side, and come out and I mean, they came out, they shut the shop down. Do you hear me? Those hats were lovely. We'll be getting pictures out to you as soon as possible, on Thursday, hopefully Friday, by the latest, to get those photos out for you, to be able to show you how wonderful you all look. Thank you so much for patronizing a black-owned business on the north side, in Deutschtown. We are so grateful, Ms. Verna Arnold, for all the work that you did to make sure that we had an awesome tea put together. And don't forget that this Friday, as I close, this Friday, you will be able to hang out at the Manchester Garden And we will have the Manchester Growing Together dedication ceremony this Friday, June 26th from 6 to 8. The garden is located at the corner of Juniata and Fulton Street. Okay, so they're at the corner, beautiful Manchester, Juniata, that's Juniata, and Fulton, Fulton Street. Zip is 15233. Thanks to the lovely, 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 and awesome Miss Lisa Freeman. Okay, Miss Lisa Freeman was huge and so pivotal in my in being awarded the T on me also, you know, and she recognized how necessarily holistic education is, how getting together in outdoor creative spaces is necessary for our youth, how bringing kids and family together for, you know, experience during the summer, connecting through gardening, how important that is. And that's really what the holistic education is about. All right, make sure you follow us at The Path. That's The Holistic Engineering Education Path. The Holistic Engineering Education Path. TheePath.wordpress.com. That's thepath.wordpress.com, and you'll be getting all the updates, including updates on the Arts and Engineering Project with Mr. Dion Jacob happening soon, with the Manchester Growing Together Garden happening this Friday, June 26th, with Tea on Me, because you are invited. I am asking everyone to make sure that you stay in touch with me so that I can hear about you, your brand, and what you do, so that we together we can continue to sharpen each other, just as iron sharpens iron, right? Thank you all for listening. My name's Latoya Williams. I'm the executive consultant at Iernwill Educational Consultant. I am the creative director of the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit and the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit Tour. And so I thank each of you for your contributions, for believing in me, and I ask that each of you continue to do what you're passionate about, pursue those passions, and if you need help, get in touch with me. You can catch me on the blog at thepath.wordpress.com. Call me up at 252-628-9455. You can find me on Twitter at IERNWILL. That's Twitter and Instagram at IERNWILL. That's Iernwill. And on Facebook at IERN.WILL, Iernwill. So please just make sure that you're staying connected. Make sure that you go out to the art installation and dedication ceremony this Friday at the Manchester Growing Together Garden, located at the corner of Juniata and Fulton Street in lovely Manchester. Zip code 15233 if you need some help with that when you're navigating there. 15233 is the zip code, and that's happening Friday, June 26th from 6 to 8. You can get in touch with Miss Lisa Freeman if you have any questions. That's Lisa, 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 VIP at AOL.com. Okay? Or you can give her a call at 412-290-9294. That's 412-290-9294. And that's for the Manchester Growing Together Garden art installation and dedication ceremony happening this Friday, June 26th, 6 to 8, at the corner of Juniata and Fulton Street, as a part of another part of the Iron Sharpens Iron Summit. And we are so thankful for Miss Lisa Freeman for all her dedication and her help. She was huge in collecting those signatures for the Tea on Me. And so I want to see each of you out at the art installation this Friday, and I want to make sure that you're sitting down for tea so I can hear about you. So together we can sharpen each other, learn from each other, and grow together. Thank you for listening. This is Freedom Radio. I'm Latoya Williams, your executive consultant at Iernwill Educational Consultant. Shout out to all those Iron Chefs. Thank you so much for all you do. You are appreciated. Mwah.